Week 2 of Contender Series. I'm your host, Andy Lang. We're going to be breaking down some of these fights. We're recording this Tuesday morning. The round props, finishing props, and all those have just come out. So I want to make sure we get a look at the lines as they first come out so we can find some value on this card. It's $5 Tuesday at Wager Talk. I've got a $5 Contender Series play, $5 MLB play, and a cricket play. I'll tell you a little bit more about those in just a second. Let's get to the fights. We're going to start with the main event here, Fazil and Brito. We'll start with Brito here. This guy almost made it to UFC on Contender Series a couple years ago. He's fighting Oban Elliott, almost knocked out Elliott. Elliott makes this miraculous comeback. Elliott gets the contract, and he's been in UFC. And Kike Brito's had to go to the regional scene. Octagon, no joke of a promotion. And I got to say, his last two fights, that's where he's looked the best. That's where he looks like he's really taken the next step. Power is there. It just feels like he's a little bit more crisp everywhere. Problem is he gets a really, really tough match uphill. Fazil he's the real deal. He's pure pressure. He's pure excitement. He really only knows one way to fight. He moves forward. He forces exchanges, looks to land big shots. And what's crazy is his cardio is pretty impressive. Like he does not stop moving, and he's got some first round finishes, but he's also got round 3 finish, a decision. Like he doesn't stop. And that's kind of where I land on this fight is Brito's had cardio issues in the past. His last 2 fights where I say he looked the best, we didn't see his cardio though, because he finished before the fight got to really late in there. So I just can't really with Brito with his cardio issues, and Fazil, who is not only going to have no problem with his cardio, I think he's going to be able to tire out Brito late. So I'm looking at over 1.5. The books are all over these lines on these props, sadly. Minus 145 is the over 1.5. I think that's a pretty good. Line on that. If you're looking at finishing props, the best one I could come up with is honestly Fazil by submission or decision is at plus 165. He's got several submissions on his resume. I'm not playing it, but I wouldn't take KO or decision at minus 140. That line's not right. So I would look at submission or decision, but over 1.5 at minus 145 is probably priced about right. I'm not sure there's a whole lot we can do with that one. So, all right, we move on to Douglas Rodrigues and Trent Miller. And I am just not a Trent Miller fan. This guy gets hit way too easy. His chin's just out there. His face is just out there. Ryan Gondra knocked him out. He still has the same issues. I guess credit to him. He goes out and fights some guy who's 3-3 earlier this year, gets the win. So they bring him back. I just haven't seen any improvements from him. So Douglas Rodrigues, this guy's powerful. Let me see my notes on Rodrigues. So he just faced a wrestler. Here's the other thing. This guy he just faced, who's 7-1-1. This guy, Gabriel Ramos, he likes to wrestle. And Rodrigues was able to fight off those and still remained composed and still was able to get the round 2 knockout. So he showed good technique with the takedown defenses. He showed good technique with the strikes. Rodrigues probably could work on his striking defense, but I don't think it's going to matter against Trent Miller. So we look at some of the winning methods here, and let's see. Douglas Rodrigues by KO is minus 185. That sounds about right. I guess here's what's weird. Douglas Rodrigues by KO or decisions minus 250, or by finishes only minus 275. If you think you're gonna finish, I guess it's a parlay piece, but even those are pretty tough to argue. Hey, there's really good value in that one. I do think Rodrigues finishes. The under 1.5 is minus 195. Probably hits, but that's still a little bit of a crazy line. So the books are not giving us very much to work with this morning. So, and at the time we're recording it, literally these lines have just come out. So I'm looking at a lot of them kind of on the fly. So if I don't have the perfect answer, I apologize. Again, it's $5 Tuesday, guys. Cricket has been on an 8-1 run. Jan has been crushing that the CPL league. So we've got a play that goes off tonight. We got a $5 MLB prop that is up 23-10 run. We're number one at Wager Talking MLB props. That's a big feather in my cap. Somebody that tries to dominate the props markets, being number one in a sport for props means a lot to me. And then, of course, Contender Series. $5 Contender Series plays up. So we got not one, not two, but three $5 plays that are up. And join us on our live show. You go to the Winning in the Shadows YouTube channel. Myself, Jim, and Jan will be there. Last week, we had an impromptu cricket watch party. That was a lot of fun right after the fights. So join us on the Winning in the Shadows YouTube channel. We'll watch all these Contender Series fights together. All right, Logan Paxton, Christian Perez. All right, Logan Paxton, we'll start with him. This guy was a Division I wrestler. Problem is, I'm just not sure he's that great of an MMA wrestler. I watched him struggle against some guys, and struggling against Armis Guyton is not a great look. Let's take a look at Mr. Armis Guyton. A lot of losses in karate and MMA, and there's bare knuckle, and there's the loss to Logan Paxton, and Guyton was able to land some good shots on Logan Paxton. So I think this is going to be way too much for Logan Paxton. I think he's going to get a pretty good schooling here from Christian Perez, who's got plenty of experience. He lost on Contender Series to Manuel Souza. Turns out that loss is aging beautifully. Perez was doing great. Perez was taking Souza down. And Sosa's just shown to have absolutely insane cardio. And Souza did it again on Contender Series. Knocks out Perez in the last round. Perez goes out, beats a guy in the first round, and I thought Christian Perez looked incredible at weigh-ins. I thought he looked. I was like, wow, did this guy fill out even more? So I thought he looked great. Thought he looked a little bit bigger than Paxton. So minus 225 is pretty good. I like the over 1.5. Two guys that kind of like to wrestle and clinch. I think this probably goes into the second, maybe even the third round. What's decision on this? This fight to go the distance is plus 165. Just don't think all these fights are going to end early. So that's that could be a real look there for plus 165 on this fight to go over to go the distance. So. All right, next fight we're going to look at is, yes, our guy, Muhammad Ali against Lorenz. I think that's how you pronounce his name. We did really well betting against Ali in his first Contender Series fight, where he was a big-time favorite. And those of you who know UFC know he fought Iwo Barnowski, who is an absolute tank. He's done well in UFC. This guy, Iwu, is absolutely has lights out power. Now, he hasn't fought the greatest level of competition in UFC, but here's the thing with this Muhammad Ali. One punch from Barnowski got him out of there. And this guy is a really, really big guy, but he comes from a lot of grappling background. And we get him into MMA, and he lands a big head kick and knocks a guy out in the first round. This guy's 9-8. Then he beats a guy who was 1-6 at the time with another quick head kick. This guy he beat was 7-17. He goes the distance against Jared Gooden. That's probably his best win, but Jared Gooden's done and over the hill. He gets knocked out on the very first shot on Contender Series, and then he goes and fights a guy that's 7-9-1, and he lands a shot. Where's the cage time where this guy can get better? He keeps knocking out bums. He's not testing himself at this level. And the grappling background, he does not have good strike defense at all. It's really bad. So I'm not laying this kind of price on a favorite like that. That would be crazy. Could I look like a dope? Of course. Ali's a massive. He's bigger than Lorenz, but just telling you, Lorenz at plus 250, not bad. What's the what's Lorenz by KO? Yeah, plus 320. Absolutely, he could get to the chin of Muhammad Ali. Lorenz has had some pretty good wars. He has been tested. Been fighting in LFA. He's another one that lost on Contender Series early to Yukayev. So I like this fight against Ryan Parker. This was one that was a pretty grueling fight. I know Ryan Parker is not the best, but you're giving me two guys who have not fought great competition. Both guys have been knocked out early, and I can get one of them plus 320. That seems pretty crazy to me. So that'd be my thoughts on that one. Have not played it yet, but let's just put it this way: Muhammad Ali is not going to be in any of my parlays tonight. All right. Before we get to the last fight, again, $5 Tuesday. I sound like a broken record. We got 3 of them up, but all handicappers at Wager Talk can put up a $5 play. We've got cricket, we've got MLB, and we've got Contender Series. So for just $15, you can get 3 plays tonight. We're looking for a big sweep. Been running good in these sports. So, all right, last fight: Tanner Trembley and Roman Puga, probably the fight of the night. Hard to really say. Oh, I know who's going to dominate this fight. I don't think anybody's going to dominate this fight. I was looking at Puga, he's this Mexican boxer. Just that's how he stands. Just with that boxing stance, really, really crisp, got a good boxing guard. Has not fought the best level of competition, but you go and you look, and yeah, boxing, he looks really good. This fight against Hamza Trad was a really good look for him. He was able to stuff some takedowns and stuff. My worry is, are they bringing this guy along too fast? But then I look and he's 29, and it's now or never. So I get why they're bringing him up. So I worry about the lack of experience. But then again, he's fighting a guy that's only 7-0, and I like Tanner Trembley. He's got good striking. He's tough. He's had the much better level of competition. There's a lot of LFA fights against guys with winning records, and he's looked really good. I thought his last fight was against Corey Taylor was his best look. So he looks like the real deal. So when we go and look at props, I like the over 1.5 at minus 145. I think these guys are pretty equal, and I think they're both tough. I think a knockout's going to be pretty hard to come by. I see money coming in on Trembley a little bit. Puga's down to minus 148. He was minus 160, but be careful with these line moves on Contender Series. You'll see a lot of buyback, and then on the comeback. We saw that last week as well. So unless a line moves like over $1, I'm not paying too much attention to the line move, because watch that thing boomerang back later on in the day. So I would say if I have to pick some props and some round props, I do like this Puga Trembley over 1.5. I like that Perez Paxton over 1.5. That's a pretty good one. I mean, Lorenz and Ali under 1.5 at minus 345 is pretty good. I mean, those two monsters. Who doesn't? How do we not have a first round knockout in that one? So, Fazil Brito. I think I just like Fazil by finish. Yeah, I think Fazil finishes him late, maybe like a round 2 and 3 type of prop. So, all right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us, guys. I'll be doing these every Tuesday as soon as these props and round props come out. Don't forget to join us on the live show on the Winning in the Shadows YouTube channel. Good luck on your bets. Take advantage of $5 Tuesday, and we'll see everyone later.